Verily, this vichyssoise of verbiage veers most verbose, so let me simply add that it's my very good honor to meet you, and you may call me V.
Master Will.
Hello FPL managers, back again with another video. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. And before we proceed, there's a link in the description to a poll on our Twitter page at FPLVendetta. What it's really about, we just want to find out exactly how you judge mid-range players. Do you think that a mid-range player is 8.5 million and below, or do you think it's 8 million and below? Well, I really need to know this before we start building our teams for next season for the mid-range madness. And if you're confused about what that is, there's a link to our initial video on mid-range madness, which will let you understand what our plans are for next season. But to summarize, we're intending to build a team completely of mid-range players and see where we finish. Okay, so we really need to have an idea of what majority of you feel a mid-range player is. Now, for the main gist of the video, the 5 secrets for strong starts for FPL. This is going to be a 2-part series. We're going to have 5 for this video and 5 for the next video. I did it this way so the video isn't too long and convoluted. Okay, so we're gonna break it down like that. So we're gonna begin. All right, this video is really for FPL beginners. Really, you see, when you start on FPL, there are a lot of rookie mistakes that you would make, and this video is really gonna help you, have a really strong start. It will have you right there in the top 1 million on the first week, the first couple of weeks, and have you building really strong, at least until you get to the middle of the season. You really don't want to be left behind as soon as the season starts. All right, we want to start strong and we want to go hard throughout the entire season. Okay, so the first secret that you would not hear from an FPL expert: be pragmatic, not fanatic. What does this mean? A lot of people come into FPL with the idea that they are fans of one or some other team. When playing FPL, you really do not want to be stuck with that type of mentality. You don't want to be a Liverpool fan and strictly pick mostly Liverpool players, even though the odds are you might not get a good result with these players. Okay, so you want to be pragmatic. You want to maximize your points. All right, so on FPL, you are not a fan of any team. You're only a fan of green arrows. Okay, strictly green arrows. Green. That's all you should be thinking about. Okay, green arrows. Okay, now that's the first secret of FPL. Be pragmatic. All right, now second secret: for a starter, you must pay attention to defenders playing closer to goal. I repeat, pay attention to defenders playing closer to goal. Now what that means is you're going to find all types of defenders on FPL, but you have to pay attention to those ones who are positioned closer to the opposition box. All right, now that would first thing you're going to think about are fullbacks. Okay, think about Trent Alexander-Arnold or Robertson or Lucas Digne. Okay, these players are defenders, all right, but you find them closer and closer to goal more often than not. Okay, so these are the defenders you should be looking out for. Now you could have center backs, but these are usually center back players who are more, guaranteed clean sheets. Okay, they don't really score goals or make assists, but for your fullbacks, you're more than likely to get goal returns from them. Okay, so pay attention to those types of players. Also, you may want to pay attention to midfielders who are playing as strikers or attackers or forwards, whatever you want to call it. Okay, last season we had Martial listed as a midfielder for Manchester United, but you found him playing in the attack as a centre forward. Okay, now converse, you have Rashford, who is listed as a centre forward, playing more away from the goal. He was playing more of a left forward role for Manchester United. So pay attention to these little little details, which will have you maximizing your funds to have players playing closer and closer to goal throughout your entire team. Okay, so that's the second secret. Pay attention to defenders and generally players playing closer to goal. Okay, now secret number 3, very important. The Manchester City triple up is a huge risk. Okay, now for a starter, a beginner on FPL, you may be thinking, oh, just load up your team with the best attacking players in the league, with the Manchester City attackers, right? Huge risk. Okay, now Pep Roulette is your enemy. You do not want to load your team up in the beginning of the season with mostly City players and then have only one of them turn up. It's a reality. It can happen, and you don't want that, especially for people who build their teams in the beginning of the season with only 11 sure starters and then fill their bench with substitutes who are not guaranteed starters. You do not want that. That's going to take you a little way back, and a lot of FPL managers are going to be ahead of you in your mini league, and you don't want that at all. Okay, so this Man City triple up is a huge risk. You're going to have to be smart about it. If you have a connect that's going to let you know what the starting lineup is going to be, well, good for you, but we would advise you do not focus so much on the triple up of Manchester City attackers. Okay, now secret number 4, save points are a safer bet than clean sheets. I repeat, save points are a safer bet than clean sheets. What does this mean? Well, when we pick our goalkeepers on FPL, most of the time we go for the premium goalkeepers. Reason being, you usually are more assured of a clean sheet than you would when you pick a mid-range or a low-range goalkeeper. And this is true. Sure, you can pick let's say Ederson, and there's a higher likelihood of a clean sheet. But in let's say a 3-game span, for instance, we pick a mid-range goalkeeper like Brighton's Ryan. Okay, now I'm more likely to find more points from my goalkeeper Ryan than your goalkeeper Ederson. How? Well, all it takes for Ederson to fail is to lose his clean sheet. All it takes for the opposition to score 1 goal, and that's it. Ederson doesn't necessarily need to make a lot of saves because his team controls the game for 90 minutes. He doesn't need to make a save. Okay? Now, those save points, you will find them more on mid-range goalkeepers because they are always taking shots. So Ryan is more likely to get you more points than an Ederson over a span of 2-3 games than let's say a punt of 1 game. Okay, if you want to make a punt of 1 game, I would say okay, go for the premium goalkeeper. Now if you look at the stats here, or middle of the season, looking at Dean Henderson of Sheffield and Ederson of Manchester City, you can see the difference in clean sheets. Now see the difference in number of saves. That tells you that saves are more likely to be found in the mid-range goalkeepers than in the premium goalkeepers. So you're going to have to apply this, when picking your first team draft. Okay, now some people pick a premium goalkeeper and go for a goalkeeper from the low range price, lower range prices, and what ends up happening is that when, for instance, that premium goalkeeper doesn't feature for one game due to injury or gets substituted and the backup goalkeeper replaces him, you are left with a goalkeeper who was never going to feature at all for his team. So it's usually smarter to go for a double up of mid-range goalkeepers than a double up of a premium and a low-range goalkeeper who isn't going to feature. Okay, so you're going to have to think about that. Okay, so that's secret number 4. Secret number 5, very important, especially for your first game drafts, your first team you're going to select on FPL for the game week 1. Avoid new player gambles. I'm going to say that again. Completely avoid new player gambles. Why? Well, it's really easy to get excited by these cheap players coming in from the championship and then fielding them in your first 11. You may be thinking, I can get a really good differential by picking this really hot player from the championship. Now, rarely does it work. Okay, he's gonna come in and instead of getting you that one goal, that one assist that you were banking on, he's gonna blank, and then your pals who picked regular players from last season who are better assets in bringing in points are going to be ahead of you by the end of game week 1. Okay, so you don't want to gamble on new players, and by new players I don't just mean new players into the league or new players from the championship. I mean players moving from outside of the league, from Spain, Germany into the league. Okay, you don't want to gamble on that on game week 1. Also, players moving in within the league. Okay, last season a lot of people went for Perez from Newcastle, who was bought by Leicester City, and Perez was a terrible asset. Okay, so you do not want to be doing that. You want players who are already established in their teams, who are already comfortable, who don't need to be blooded in, okay, who don't need to get used to a new league or anything like that. Okay, you want sure bankers in your teams. Okay, now before the season starts, I'm going to have a draft for you guys, on another video, just to give you an idea what's a good enough team to start strong in FPL would look like. Okay, so don't worry about that. We'll apply all these secrets into our first game draft build-up. Okay, now before I go ahead, please like video, subscribe please. I really want you to do that. Okay, and turn on your notifications, because we're going to be dropping videos twice every week, so you would want to not miss anything. And of course the part 2 is going to be dropping really soon, so you'd want to really be aware of that. Okay, like, subscribe, and follow us on our Twitters. Don't forget, at FPLVendetta. Don't forget to also vote on the poll that's going on right now. Do you class as a mid-range player 8.5 million and below, or 8 million and below? Okay, now that would be it for the video today. Look out for the part 2 and catch you on the next one. Okay, ciao.